Hey, good evening, everybody. Thank you to this week's episode of According to Sacha Podcast. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up. I really do appreciate it. We are back on another Thursday with another special guest. What is today? August the 15th, you guys. Like, we're halfway through the year. I hope that you are powering up everything that you're doing, whether it's business, whether it's being an author, speaker, whatever you're doing is powering up. And that is my co-host, Mr. Taz. And he just reminded me that I forgot to put him up. So anyway, so y'all hearing my dog tonight in this episode. And but before I bring on our special guest, who we have tonight is Domenick Epps Sr. He is a real estate broker. He is an investor. He's a coach. He is an author. He's everything that you can say in entrepreneurship, and is doing his thing. And we're going to bring him up shortly. But first, before we do that, we have to do the like, follow, and share. Like, follow, and share all of our platforms. It's down at the bottom. You know where we at. Facebook, you guys, there's been some technical difficulties, so I hope that you're watching on YouTube, and I will upload the video on Facebook a little later this evening. But thank you for being here as well. But if you're listening, thank you for listening. Please download, please share, please follow, all that good stuff. Thank you. And I don't have anything else. So before I bring on Domenick, I have one video to play, and I'll be right back. Entrepreneurship, small business, is something that everybody would love to do, making their own money. And this is what we will be talking about on According to Sacha. Hey, Domenick, how are you?
I'm great, Sacha. How are you?
I'm doing good. You know, I had my special co-host this evening, and I don't know if everybody could hear him, but he just started barking. He reminded me,
No doubt. He was saying hi, homeowner. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my ace right there. He had to remind me.
Gotcha.
Welcome to According to Sacha Podcast. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Wow. I'm ready to really get into the conversation because I love talking to entrepreneurs in the different industries that they're in and real estate and all that good stuff. But before we get started, I want you to tell everyone who's watching who is Domenick Epps Sr.
All right. So I'm a man of God. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm an entrepreneur. All things real estate. And I'm just a lover of people. I enjoy serving. So that's who I am.
Awesome. And I love the last part when you say you enjoy serving. That's one of the things, in entrepreneurship and the things that we're doing. A lot of times we can forget the fact that we are serving other people, whatever it is that is service. So thank you for doing that. So let's dive in. What was it about real estate that got you interested and started in this industry?
All right. So Honestly, real estate wasn't that wasn't my plan. It wasn't my goal. You know, just, you know, as DJ Khaled said, God did, right? Like, it wasn't something that I was trying to do. My plan, you know, my goal in life growing up was music. I wanted to be this big time music executive, right? Started my first company as a senior in high school. I was 17 years old, got my first official business license. And so that was my dream. That was my goal was music, right? For to travel the world doing music. And God had other plans, right? And so I said yes, not knowing what I was saying yes to, not having anyone that I could lean on for direction. I just went on and it was like, all right, I'm going to obey and I'm going to trust you throughout this process. And it has been phenomenal. So yeah,
Awesome.
that's how I got into real estate.
All right, awesome. And before we go, so I want to shout out Lakita, your wife.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's right.
How you
That's
doing?
right. She's the plug. Yeah,
She is definitely the plug, and she is a
Yeah.
travel agent. I'm gonna have to get her on the show as well. And she
Absolutely.
has her own agency. So hey, Lakita. Wow, you know, I didn't know that your first wave was music. I was
Yeah.
in the music industry as well. I used to manage independent music artists. And so I kind of like definitely understand how we could start in one way and
Yeah.
then end up doing something totally different.
Yeah.
But at the same time, those early business adventures really set you up for something more. And
Oh
something
yeah,
great.
and I still use those same giftings too. So
Yeah.
if you go to my YouTube page or you just put in Domenick Epps YouTube, I got a few music tracks I did in regards to real estate. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. So I got some real estate videos, some official music real estate videos. It's actually some hip hop real estate videos. So it's pretty dope.
Okay, all right. Hey, you might be you're gonna be a change maker. If it's a
Hey,
hip
that's
hop
the
and you
goal. That's the
have
goal.
to say, and I mean, hey, they
Yeah.
gotta buy property too, right?
That's right. That's right. That's
So
right.
wow, that's amazing. You know, I was thinking earlier, and I was gonna actually put this on Facebook as my little plug for the day. And I was thinking how if every entrepreneur and speaker or author will do their business like a music artist, and then a music artist would do their business like entrepreneurs and speakers, you know, they will be so far in what they do. You know, because
Yeah.
when you really think about it, music artists really do hit, they grind, they market, they promote, they do everything, especially independently.
Right.
And we see
Right.
them
Besides
everywhere.
the business, they don't want anything to do with the
They
business
don't want
part.
anything with the business, but they do that marketing. And then
Right.
on the flip side, entrepreneurs, speakers and coaches and authors, they'll do the business,
Yep.
but they don't do the marketing.
Yeah.
And vice versa. And it was just like, how
Yeah.
powerful would that be when you
Yeah.
really tap into different, you know, ways? Like people look at creatives and like, okay, creatives are creatives, but they have an energy that's there that entrepreneurs can really tap into, and vice versa.
Right.
So it's just like, you know, just talking about it, how you plug everything in, like with your music and real estate. I think that's very, very phenomenal.
Yep.
So now you went from being having the desire to be a music executive. Now you're this real estate broker, investor, coach. Like, so what does that look like for you now?
It looks like a very full schedule. It looks like a very full schedule. You know, so I'm licensed in Georgia, in Virginia, and North Carolina, right? So and we have brokerages in Virginia, North Carolina. And so we have agents, of course, on the brokerage side. And then as far as the investment side, you know, we do buy and hold, long-term, short-term with Airbnbs. We buy and flip. And then we also, you know, teach other people how to do the same thing, right? So it's not just me hoarding the information to myself. I'm just trying to put everybody on game because, you know, to me, I love the field. If I could start all over again, you know, I would tell that 17-year-old that was in high school trying to start a record label to get into real estate, right? And so, yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So what was your first property like when you actually
Oh man,
started
I don't know if we
investing?
have enough time for this. Yeah, so the very first property, it was ours. It was me and my wife, our very first property. So you know, I'm gonna give you the short version. it was a property that my grandmother had left, me and my brother, and the city was about to take it over and tear it down. Okay. Somebody else was, had a family member occupying the space, and the city was about to tear it down. And so I ended up, having to go through the process to acquire the property. And then I had to, get the funds to rehab it because it was so bad. I was so excited to show my wife. We were engaged to get married, planning for a wedding. And I'm like, yo, we got our house, right? And so we pulled up. The grass was probably about 4 feet tall. The house looked like it needed to be knocked down for sure. And she looked at me in that car and said, I am not getting out this car. I am not going in that. Like, it was that bad, right? But I had to cast a vision. So I was casting a vision like, look, it's going to look like this when we finish. I've never done this before, by the way. Never did any type of rehab. But I was always a visionary, even growing up, always a visionary. So, I went in, I'm like, listen, when we finish with it, this is going to be an amazing house, right? And so we had to secure financing. And, that was the challenge, right? Because my credit wasn't the greatest. But, my wife had great credit. And so a credit union said yes to her. They would do it. When they said yes, I didn't know anything about appraisals, any of that. I went in and started gutting the house. Like I took it all the way down to the studs.
Oh, wow.
I want you to follow me. I took it down to the studs. The lender sent the appraisal out. I had to meet the appraiser. The appraiser came to the property. As soon as I opened the door, he said, Mr. Epps, does the credit union know that you have gutted this property out? And I was like, yeah, they know because we renovating it. He was like, but there's nothing here for me to appraise, sir. Like, I can't. And so he called them. They got me on the phone and said they couldn't do it. They said that they couldn't do it because, they knew we were rehabbing the property, but that was after the fact, right? They had to appraise the property. So they turned us down. And, my wife was a little upset. She called and was like, okay, so what happened? And I had prayed that quick. As soon as he left, I got on my knees. I said, God, give me a word. Let me know what to do because I cannot answer this phone because she's going to chew me out and tell me that I was moving too fast. So I need a word. I need you to speak to me and tell me what to do next. God gave me a word. Just like, I'm not saying it always happened that fast, but that day he gave me a word to go back to the credit union that told me no. And, she called and she was like, what happened? I was like, they said they can't do it. And while she was giving me all of this, I was like, look, God told me what to do. And I hung up, went to the credit union. The guy said to me, listen, I normally wouldn't do this, but something telling me to give you a shot. And he gave me a shot. And that was our first one. And we've been rolling ever since. So,
wow. Yeah. Such an amazing story. That's amazing. And then out of that, I have several questions because we may have people out there watching and, there are a lot of people doing real estate, teaching, trainings and everything. And listening to your story, you actually kind of, on the investment side, you kind of created that step-by-step process, or you learned from it of what to do. So if there was somebody out there watching and they were interested in getting into real estate investing, what are the top 5 tips that you would give them based on your very first time experience and where you are now?
All right. So the very first thing I would say is to try to read up as much as you can, right? Like educate yourself on what real estate investing, actually involves, right? I know most people would say hire a coach, but how do you know the coach is coaching you right if you don't even know the information, right? So try to get as much information. There's a lot of free information out here. So online books, try to get as much information on real estate and financial literacy as possible. And then from there, I would say, get you a mentor, get you a coach, someone who can kind of give you that hands-on training, right? And from that, just go do it. I can't even give you 5 because most people, they have a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, but they still sitting on the sidelines. I'm going to say, get in the game. Get your first property, get in the game. And if you make mistakes, it's okay. right? One of the things that we teach is that the property is the bank. So we teach you how to, because most people would say, well, I don't invest in real estate because I don't have the capital. I don't have the money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the wrong mindset. You need to get the property under contract. Once you have the property under contract, the capital will come to you because the property itself is the bank. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's dig into this a little deeper because he's talked about getting the property under the contract. So, I've always had that. I think I'm probably one of the ones who probably like on the sideline because I've always had the desire to get into real estate, but just never just jumped in. But being, I was the one going to different seminars and listening and just like, okay, well, I'm gonna try it. But I just never did it. I'm actually doing it internationally. I just jumped and forget about the States. I went international with it. But getting the property under contract. So there are several different ways of doing that. So if you want to kind of talk about like, how can you do, because I've heard about getting the contracts, selling contracts.
Yeah, absolutely. So
let's go into that.
And the reality is we don't have enough time for me to really go into detail, but they can go to my website and get my book, Wholesale to Wealth, right? And it's only $27 and I give you the game from A to Z. I'm giving you the game from A to Z, how to get a property under contract, right? So for most people, they would say they don't have the money, and then two, they don't have the credit, right? When you are investing in real estate, one, you should not acquire properties in your personal name. It should be in your business name, right? So you should have some business set up, right? And I'm not here to give any type of advice on what type of business model you should have, but you should have a business, right? And then once you get that property ratified, under contract, meaning the seller has agreed to sell you the property for a specific price, right? You're going to get that contract over to the lender, your agent, because you should be using an agent. Your agent is going to give you the ARV, which is the after repair value, how much this property is worth. And the lender is going to finance 65% of the ARV. So I'm going to give you a quick class right? So if you get the property on the contract, say for $100,000, right? But the property is going to be worth $275 when you complete it, right? The lender is going to give you 65% of $275 to purchase it in rehab. I'm going to say it again.
Say that again.
They're going to give you 65%. Now, if, depending on your credit, because if you do have good credit, they may give you 70%, right? But they want to give you 65% because the value is in the property. Okay, the value is in the property. So they want to give you the funds and they give it to you in draw, right? So we teach people how to use other people's money once you get the property under contract, right? And that's how you get to invest in your property, and you just continue to use that model. And it's been working great for us.
Wow. Thank you for the quick class.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And for those who are just watching or just tuning in, this is Domenick Epps, senior that we have. He is a real estate broker, investor, and coach. And he has dropped in some jewels. And even if you're watching this later on, you need to share. You need to share these podcasts because just like right now, you just had a free 2-minute class.
Yeah, absolutely.
2-minute class.
Yeah, just a little tidbit. That's a whole lot more, but it's just enough for them to say, "Wow, is that easy?" It's really that easy. Right?
Yeah,
it's really
and it's really that easy for you to go to his website and purchase the book. So if you want to know more, get the book, Wholesale to Wealth. I mean, just the 2 minutes right there gave you a lot.
That's it. Or you can go to Amazon. You can go to Amazon.
Go to Amazon.
That's fine. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, so that's the investor side of who you are. So, when you're talking about the brokerage, were you an agent before you went into the brokerage?
Yeah, so here's the thing. I started off, of course, as an investor, right? And then I got my license. So I got my license in like April of 2014. I went full-time with my wife's permission in September of 2014, meaning I left a good paying job with benefits to go into a commission only industry. I need y'all to hear me. Okay. Right. But one, I pray and I trust God. And two, I just bet on me, right? I know my grind, I know my grit, right? So I just bet on me, right? And so I'm not going to sit here and say it was easy. Our first year was very challenging, right? We were facing foreclosure. We were facing some very financial challenges. But I will say the next 4 year, I was able to replace my full income, right? The year after that, doubled the income. And then the year after that, was able to tell my wife she doesn't have to work anymore, right? But it was the grind, it was the grit. So there are a lot of people that have come up to me or inbox me and say, hey man, I want to get my real estate license, right? Well, just because you get your license doesn't mean you're going to get closings and doesn't mean you're going to get checks, right? So what is your work ethic like? Okay. So I tell people, listen, if you want to get your license and you want me to train you, 5 a.m., get on my call, right? And I know you're serious. If you don't get on the call at 5 a.m., this is not meant for you. Now, this is how I train, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's definitely work. It's not something that comes easy, right? So yeah.
That's wonderful. And it's so much. I know we don't really have a lot of time, but we go over, it's okay. But just to let you know, but it's so much to unpack with that, because I really want to touch on the fact of you being the man of the household and still having the support of your wife. And there are so many couples out here who are, in business together, or one or the other is supporting one or the other and so forth. But just to see how, that trust in the faith, but first in God, but then that trust and the faith between each other, and how
that took time. We're not going to say that like that happened overnight. Like, no, that took time. There was some challenges in there, right?
Yeah.
But those challenges build muscle, right? Those challenges build muscle. So my wife, because, single parent home, she was raised in, the only child. So she was used to things a certain way, right? And so here I am, this visionary, this big dreamer that was broke. And we don't even have time to talk about that. Like, I met her with no job, no money, nothing, right? Just a lot of faith and a lot of I believe, right? But that took time. It took time, and I had to be able to deliver. So it's the results that help establish the trust. It wasn't I'm just talking about it, right? Because a lot of people talk about it, but they don't have any results to back it up, right? So it was these checks coming in. Oh, you paid my student loans off. Oh, you see what I'm saying? So over time, it was, all right, I'm gonna stop talking to you about going to get a job because I see what you're doing is actually paying off. So it didn't happen right away, but over time, we got there.
Yeah. And I love that testimony about it, because that can encourage so many other people who are watching right now. And and that as long as you're there with each other, you go through the grit, you go through the grind, but you get there together.
Absolutely.
And so that's amazing and phenomenal. I just had to just throw that out there, because not to make it like a relationship, marriage type of show, but when we're in business, it does matter like who's on your team. And I know a lot of times we look at like who's on your team as far as like who's doing marketing, who's doing calls, who's doing sales. But when you think about your household, who's on your team in your support system, or who has your back.
Because you got to think about it. We had 3 young kids when I left that job. You see what I'm saying? So she was working, she had her income, and we had 3 young kids. So, for the average person, it's like, bro, you crazy. Like, what are you doing? Right? Like, you got 3 kids, you have a mortgage, you have all of these bills, and you're about to leave a good paying job with benefits, pension, 401k, good health care, and you're going to go pursue this dream because you believe God said it. So it took for her to be able to say, you know what? She had to trust God more than she trusted me, for one, right? But I know her mom raised her well. I'm sure she had a stash somewhere, like just in case, you know what I mean? Just in case. But it took time, and we had some challenges. We had some financial challenges because my closings wasn't happening, and we had a rental property too at the time, right? And we was using rent money to try to supplement household bills. and it was just piling up, right? Bills was getting behind. And so, but what do you do when you face those challenges? Do you turn against each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you just find a way to say, all right, listen, we're going to work this thing out together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we did. And now we did get a relationship coach. Let me say that. So we didn't know what to do by ourselves. We got a relationship coach and got into a relationship community, which we're still in. Shouts out to the MAPS community. And that helped us, while we're trying to figure things out.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. I really like that. And, in the direction that the conversation has went, one of the things that people do look at entrepreneurship, and, we have social media and everybody's always showing the glamorous side of it, but there's an ugly truth to it too. And just like a part of your background and your testimony about business and where you at now compared to where you came from and the things that you endured and challenges, like, that shows that balance. Like that stuff is real. That stuff is not shown, but it's the real thing. But it helps you to build the character. It helps you to build that stamina and the resilience and everything, and keep you in the game. Some people might fall back, and this could really be helpful for anybody that's watching who could be in the same situation right now, like still going through challenges, but see the light just around the corner, and it's like, how do I get there? So if you are in that space and you're listening, like Domenick just gave some true examples just by his life, and just continue to grind.
That's just a little bit. That's just a little bit. I didn't even tell you when I was sleeping in my car and all of that other stuff, right? That's just a little bit, right? But if you are determined, here's the thing: if you are determined, right, just stay at it. Just stay at it.
That's it.
And don't look at a loss as failure. It's a lesson. What did you learn from that? Right? Okay, this happened. What did you learn from it, and what you're going to do different? Right? So most people, that's because failure is not glamorized, right? Everybody wants to see the glitz and glamour, but the reality is, it's that soil, it's that fertilizer that caused you to grow. It's that dirt, right? And so you got to be willing to sit in it for a while. And then when you blossom, everybody's going to see it, but I know we way over time, so let me stop.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Cause you sitting there saying that, I was like, that dirt turned to mud, and then, it's like the water for the tears and everything else can just help you blossom.
That's right.
We're going to come back.
Yep.
But so now we talked about the broker. We talked about the investor. So as a coach, and we're seeing just examples right now during the conversation, like how you coach and everything. And I'm quite sure you're empowering just as much as showing them how to flip that next property and everything. So you do have some events coming up as well. So let's talk about that. You have on Saturday.
So this Saturday in the Atlanta, Georgia metro area, we have a homeowners workshop. There's a lot of changes that has been taking place as far as real estate, right, and home ownership. And so we're here to teach homeowners, and I call everybody a homeowner. So if you're renting, if you go to my Facebook page, it says Hi Homeowner, right? That's the name of it, actually, Hi Homeowner. Yes, you. And so we're teaching about the homeownership process. We're talking about grants. We're talking about credit repair. So that's this Saturday from 12 to 2 at our office. And then November the 2nd, we have a networking event. It's an all-black networking event we're doing in downtown Atlanta. And we're bringing entrepreneurs together to network. And, so we do it every year. So we're pretty excited about that as well.
Wow, that's amazing. That's awesome. You're doing some great work. Everybody watching this show right now, this is Domenick Epps, Senior, the real estate broker and investor and coach, and he is dropping some gems tonight. And so if you're watching live right now, thank you. If you are watching later, because this is an evergreen show, thank you. And I hope that you're taking notes. But what I want you to do is I want you to go to his website. I want you to connect with him. If you are looking to get into this real estate game, go ahead. Like, you heard everything he just told you. Go ahead and contact him. You can see right now, this is somebody who knows what he's doing, has proof of it, and can help you get on the right direction with it as well. And Domenick, I thank you so much for being here. I mean, our conversation could go on and on and on. I'm
absolutely. No
definitely.
Doubt.
So thank you so much for your time. Now, any final words of wisdom you would like to share before you go?
Yes, keep the faith and keep grinding. Right. That's all I would say. Keep the faith and keep grinding. That's what I got for you.
Awesome. Awesome. Keep the faith and keep grinding. You heard it right here. Domenick said it. And I'm going to say that in everything you do, continue to be great and command your day. And on that note, I will see you again on another Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with another special guest. Thank you guys and see y'all again. Bye.
Peace. Yeah.